What's up, and welcome to One Take. I'm Gil, and I just finished watching the new trailer for the Sam Mendes directed World War I film 1917. And the one word that comes to mind after watching this trailer is intense. It reminded me of Christopher Nolan's movie Dunkirk, in that it takes place in a war, but really focuses in on a small story of a handful of characters. Not only that, but both movies are about a race against time. In fact, in the movie Dunkirk, throughout the film, you can hear the sound of a ticking clock as part of the score of that movie. And you can hear that same ticking clock or a similar motif in the 1917 trailer. Now, one thing that didn't work as well for me in Dunkirk, and I think that movie was pretty universally acclaimed, but for me, because I didn't feel too much of a connection with the characters, I didn't feel some of that intensity. And that was an intentional choice by Christopher Nolan. He set out and said, this isn't going to be about these characters in the traditional sense. This is going to be an objective retelling of the events that took place. So he almost intentionally kept us at arm's length with those characters. But because of that, because I didn't feel that connection, I didn't feel as much suspense and as much care for those characters. In the movie 1917, at least from this trailer, I already felt more of a connection with these characters, and so that intensity was cranked up. And I think part of that is because this is meant to be a very personal story for these characters. So the premise of this movie is that two young British soldiers during World War I, Schofield and Blake, are given a seemingly impossible mission. In a race against time, they must cross enemy territory and deliver a message that will stop a deadly attack on hundreds of soldiers, Blake's own brother among them. So you're watching a character struggle through the awfulness and the horribleness of World War I to save not only hundreds of lives, but his own brother. Oddly enough, one of the things this trailer reminded me of is Steven Spielberg's movie War of the Worlds. Because I remember before that movie came out, in a bunch of interviews, Steven Spielberg talked about how one way he's going to make us as an audience really feel the intensity of that movie is he shot everything from the perspective of the people on the ground, which meant you didn't have any sweeping shots from a helicopter or really any shots that you couldn't film from a camera that someone on the ground is holding in their hands. And this movie reminded me of that. You see some familiar landscapes from World War I. You see no man's land. You see enemy territory, but it all seems to be from a very personal perspective of these couple of characters. And not only that, you don't really get it from this trailer, but this whole film was shot to look like one take, which is why we absolutely had to talk about this movie considering the name of this channel. But the whole film was shot to look like there are no cuts, because the way Sam Mendes put it is, I felt this movie should be told in real time. Every step of the journey, breathing every breath with these men, felt integral, and there is no better way to tell this story than with one continuous shot. So, on top of what we saw in this trailer, where everything seems to be shot from that very intense point of view, it also looks like it's going to appear to be one take, which I think is going to add to the intensity of this movie. And now I'm going to see if I can get through the rest of this video without using the word intense again, because I realize I've said it about 50 times. But really, that is what this trailer communicates very well. In fact, I've spent most of this video talking about how Sam Mendes has used the point of view of the camera to make us feel what the characters are feeling. And he cranks that up a little bit further towards the end of the trailer, where as the logo of the movie 1917 comes into view, it sort of becomes a window through which we see this movie. And the main character kind of gets trapped inside the logo, making you feel some of the claustrophobia that you would feel on the battlefield of World War I. So I really like how clever the camera work is throughout this trailer. The one part of this trailer that took me out of it and I thought was not as well executed is towards the end of the trailer, a song cuts in. And I think it's meant to be a very emotional song. And after a few seconds, once you get past the opening lyrics of it, it kind of works. But the opening lyrics that they play in this trailer are so on the nose that it just feels ridiculous. So the lyrics cut in and they say, I'm going back to see my father. And that is essentially singing the plot of the movie. And it just felt ridiculous to me because I could almost imagine the main character breaking out into a musical number in the middle of the trailer, telling us the plot of the movie. It kind of reminded me of the Amazon show Patriot, where the main character is a spy. And one of the problems is that he sings folk music. And he tends to sing from the heart. So he'll talk about what's going on in his life through his folk songs, which is a problem when you're a spy. And his lyrics are very literal, literally describing the missions he's on, etc.
United States learned Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was fucking around with new centrifuges. Egyptian physicist Muhammad Wawa al-Mashed was...
But in that show, it's played for laughs. Here, in the 1917 trailer, it's meant to be very serious, but because of just how literal and on the nose those lyrics are, that song choice really didn't work for me. But other than that, great trailer, and I do think it's going to be a great movie as long as the characters don't break into song partway through the film to explain the plot of the movie to us. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit the little bell icon to make sure you get notifications whenever we make more videos like this one. Thanks for watching. So quick addendum to this video. I was just in the middle of editing the video, and as I was rewatching it, I realized I may have misheard those song lyrics that I took such issue with. You see, I heard them as, I'm going back to save my brother, which is very similar to the plot of the movie. This character is trying to save his brother. Listening again, I thought, wait a minute. He doesn't say save my brother, he says see my brother. And then I listened again, and now I think he's saying, I'm going back to see my father, which would mean that my entire criticism was invalid. But I'm going to leave it in because I do think that the song comes in at such a high pitch and so much louder than everything else going on that it was still a very jarring moment, and I still think it was an awkward piece of an otherwise fantastic trailer. Anyway, thanks for watching.